Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the Tier 4 German destroyer, the V-170. And if you were not aware, when the German destroyers were announced and actually released, I did a live stream, so that's why I went through the first two tiers on my live stream, even though I did have a slight issue with the internet, so hopefully you do forgive me for that, but not much I can do, and I just hit the mic, so you probably just heard a bump right there. So let's quickly look at the stats. Survivability, you have 10,300 points of health, and armor is what you expect from a Tier 4 German destroyer, for that matter. Now, main battery, you have 4 105s with a reload time of 3.6 seconds and a turn time of 14.4 seconds, with a max HE damage of 1,200 and AEP of 2,300. So these German destroyers are supposed to be very similar to how the AP works in the German cruisers. Very high shell damage, but once a ship starts angling, they're not able to penetrate. Normally, I probably wouldn't recommend firing AP that often in these low tiers because the arcs is quite lousy. Whenever you try firing at range, is very similar to how the U.S. destroyers operate. So they kind of have a very lazy shell path. So something to keep in mind. Most times you'll be firing HE, almost always. And range is around 9 kilometers, and it really gets lazy. You almost kind of feel like you have to be up close and personal just to get those guns working to your advantage. Now, torpedo setup is actually really interesting for the first three tiers. You have the normal central mount torpedoes. You have two dual 500 millimeters with a range of 7 kilometers and reload time of 42 seconds, with the highest damage for a Tier 4 destroyer with 10,600. Now, what's unusual about the German destroyers, at least for the first three tiers, is the one set torpedoes that are on the port and starboard side. They can actually fire ahead of you, which is very unusual compared to any of the other destroyers. Kind of reminds me of the little rubber duckies that they did for April Fool's Day, which was still a fun gameplay. Now, this will be the last time we will actually see this. As soon as you hit tier 5, you lose these and you go to the normal standard central mount torpedoes. So this is what makes the tier 2, 3, and 4 very fun to play, because you can be very aggressive. You can push in, fire off your front spread of torpedoes, and then come around and fire your central mounts. So very cool design. It makes them very unique, and then they go back to the very standard. Now, the torpedo speed is slow, 54 knots, but most times you'll be facing against ships that can only hit 20 knots. Speaking about battleships, but anyways, AA defense is lousy. You have two single mount 20 millimeters. That's all. I believe the U.S. destroyer line has a little bit more. Let's actually quickly jump over to Clemson and go ahead and get that on. Yeah, so the U.S. destroyer only has a little bit more. It has one additional AA gun. So you really can't defend yourself, even though that the German destroyers are supposed to be really good at anti-aircraft. That's more later tiers. But for right now, it's very lousy. Maneuverability, you have 35.5 knots. Not the quickest, but not the slowest either. And she has a rudder shift time of 2.7 seconds. So really does help allow you to change your directions very quickly and allow you to get both sides of the torpedoes off if you are rushing a battleship. So very handy to have. Concealment. This is where the German destroyers got hit by the Nerf bat unbelievably. Now, it's not the detectability, as you may know, as is probably well known now. So detectability range by sea is 6.3 kilometers. You have a range of, I believe, 9 kilometers. Quickly check that. Yes, 9 kilometers. Now, take a look at this. Detectability after firing a main gun shell, 12.9. Your detectability has increased twofold. So, and this isn't just unique to the V-170. It's for all the German destroyers, even the tier 10. Even if you get Concealment Expert and the Concealment module, you're still almost always going to be detected if you're firing your shells. You can no longer invisifire, because that's what originally the German destroyers were really good at, was invisifiring, almost even better than the US destroyers. So I don't know how or why, because they released a lot of the YouTube creators and all the public test servers, um, the people that tested the German destroyers saw them, and they made videos. And like, there was an example for like Flamu and iChase. They made videos, and then when they released the German destroyers publicly, right the day before, they nerfed them. So right now, I've heard it's pretty hard, and that's why I really haven't been pushing up the destroyer line, German destroyer line. It's not my main focus, but I will be pushing up because I would want to. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, it just got a major nerf, and I don't know if they're gonna do this to other ships. If this is like something that's preemptive that they're gonna do to other ships, I don't know. We'll see, and we'll see also how the captain skills will help affect the German destroyers. So we'll see. Now, modules. Now, as far as upgrades, you have the B-hole, which gives you obviously additional health plus rudder shift time and plus the additional AA mounts, which was really well worth it. And then you have your upgraded torpedoes, which will go a additional 2 knots faster, but reduced reload time on the torpedoes. So something to keep in mind. But faster torpedoes make them a little bit easier to actually hit your target. And then you have your mod to your firing range, which increases by 10%. And obviously my captain is still learning. He doesn't have advanced firing training, so he doesn't get that boost. But something. So I'm going to quickly cut in from my past self to really point out another feature about German destroyers that I did forget to mention. So one unique thing, I guess, about German destroyers is their smoke. What's unique about it is not the fact that it's better than anyone else's, it's actually worse than anyone else's. It has a average active time of 53 seconds compared to the Clemson, which is well over 100 seconds. I believe it's like around 115. So it has the shortest duration time on the smoke. So that's something to keep in mind. But I'm going to go ahead and pass you off to my past self to keep in mind. Now, as far as these first 3 tiers, I would say they're fun ships. even with the nerf, they're fun ships because you're playing low tier. You have these unique torpedo setup that makes them fun, makes them very aggressive, allows you to get in close and do very fun stuff. As you will see in the replay, that occurs several times over. So we'll see how the German destroyers progress from here. Maybe they'll get a buff. We don't know. At least I don't know. So we'll just see how things go. But we'll go ahead and jump into the replay. I will see you guys there. All right, everyone. Welcome back to a replay in the V-170. And we are currently playing on Solomon Islands. And we have 2 Wyomings, 2 Kaiser, a Kawachi, Karlsruhe, 2 Tenrus, a Bog, a V-170, Wix, and a G101. On the enemy team, there is a Wyoming Kaiser, a Suzuki, Nikolai the First, a Nassau, Donne, St. Louis, Caledon, Tenru, a V-170, a G101, and a Wakatake. And these Germans really gotta be come up with better names for the destroyers, because I don't mind butchering some names, but trying to quickly say G101 or a V-170, V-170, it kind of becomes a mouthful. Okay, I'm done bitching. Anyway, so German destroyers. Honestly, as far as I can tell, so far as what I've played, the tier 2, 3, and 4 are very unique because they do have frontal torpedoes where they can fire from the front. And then it switches into the normal standard torpedo systems that a lot of, if not all, actually all of the other nations, better yet, actually nations, have torpedoes central line. Now, this makes the German destroyers a little bit more aggressive, I guess you could say. You can actually rush a battleship with your bow pointed directly in, and you're still able to do significant amount of damage. All right, so coming around the island, and there's a St. Louis and a Caledon and a battleship. So I think it's a good opportunity to actually disappear. St. Louis is one cruiser I do not want to mess with. Now, one little unique thing about the German destroyer gun placement is that when you are bringing your guns, say, from port to starboard, but facing backwards, just like how I did that right there, the guns will all stay in the same direction. But if, say, you're going from starboard to port and your guns have to turn around to the front, they'll actually split off and come in different directions. Just kind of keep it on the guns. Hopefully you'll understand what I'm trying to explain right now. Caledon is 2.2 kilometers, fire torpedoes. Now the torpedoes on the G101 are pretty powerful compared to the other tier torpedoes, but they only have one slight issue, is that they are kind of slow. They only have about 55 knots. So overall, it almost feels like if you want to actually get real massive damage, you kind of have to rush. That's kind of how I feel. But you can actually invisa torp fire with the V-170. I'm just gonna call it the 170, or just V. Probably be a little bit easier on me. Now you can invisifire because you do have a range of 7 kilometers. And a detection zone of about 6.3, so you do have that little barrier between when you can fire torpedoes and when you will be detected. Now the G101 comes around, and the guns on the V-170 are a little bit lazy, if very similar to the American shells. But then again, a lot of destroyers at this tier have these kind of lazier, I guess, shells on their guns. And so at this range, you can see it's actually a little bit difficult to actually land my salvo on this G101. Trying my best, but I'm actually sailing away, so I decided that I probably should be trying to go help this Wyoming. This Wyoming is being fairly ballsy right now. He has a walkie-talkie 5 kilometers away from him, and the walkie-talkie has fairly fast reloading torpedoes. And they're not the highest damaging for her tier, but they're very fast reloading, and this walkie-talkie can at least get them off. Now the Donne does take out the Wyoming due to torpedoes, but the walkie-talkie has come in range of us. And this is where the German destroyers, just like the US destroyer, really benefit from our guns, because they can actually land the gun salvos a little bit easier. I'm actually going to pull the camera away because for some odd reason it was shaking way too much. But you can see here that when I'm actually maneuvering away from a ship, I'm able to continue firing without having my guns go completely around. Now we do get our very first kill, and it looks like he fired a wide spread at us. So that is one dead walkie-talkie. And all that's left is a St. Louis. And here you can see the placement of the torpedoes actually allows me to fire at least 3 spreads fairly easily. And this, we'll see how this fares. Now the St. Louis is currently pushing into B. She should have known that there's at least a DD around. Now with the 170's distance on the torpedoes, I believe it's very similar to the Isakaze. I think the Isakaze had about 7 kilometers. I might be wrong, but we get 1 torpedo hit, 2, 3, 4, and devastating strike on the St. Louis for our 2nd kill of the game. Very nice. Now the enemy team has pushed heavily into C, as there was very, or if no resistance at A. So the entire force that went to A essentially had nothing to do. They have been able to kill at least one battleship, but that's about it. Now you can see actually what I was talking about, having to turn my guns to the starboard side when not running away. It actually has to bring the guns quite a bit differently, like separately. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain it without seeing it. Now we do secure the kill, so that is our third kill of the game, and hopefully you guys are understanding me when I'm saying that when traversing the guns. Just one little weird setup that the 170 has, as far as I can tell. Now we were detected, and I'm actually going to maneuver away because, well, there's 3 battleships and I believe a Kaladin over there. Now the entire friendly force has finally made its way just north of B, and since I'm moving my way to B at the moment, figured I might see if I can help with this Dane, but I don't think our friendly team needs help with this Dane. This Dane is just getting focused down by the friendly team. It does disappear from sight. Can we actually take care of this Dane? And ooh, this is probably not what he was hoping for. The friendly team can actually open fire on this Dane due to the fact that they're behind islands, and this Dane is really close to us. Went ahead and dropped torpedoes, but I think the salvo should be able to take care of him. Very, very nice. Now, granted, I did secure that kill, but that is the 4th kill of the game. And now we can actually secure B. Now, capping is very recommended, especially if you're trying to upgrade or get more experience for your ship, because capping grants you a lot of experience and even money. So it is very beneficial and very smart to do this. Plus, it also secures the increase of points for your team so that you can win just in case your team potatoes out and all dies. So I'm actually gonna maneuver my way back southeast out of B, and then we're gonna move over to C. Now our friendly team is currently working on a Wyoming, and I almost feel bad because these low tier battleships, granted they are fairly powerful whenever their shells actually hit against low tier cruisers, because low tier cruisers don't have that large health pool or any other beneficial heals. Now the only opponent over here on this side was this Kaladin. I don't really know where this Kaladin is going, and this Kaladin is somewhat special, I guess you could say, one way or another. Just watch how he reacts to us. Okay, we are finally spotted. He got into our detection and decided to open fire. And honestly, with the German destroyer guns, it seems, I mean, we're doing 792. We caught a fire. Fires aren't really that high as far as fire chance doesn't really occur, but we do get a citadel on this Kaladin, and this won't be our very last citadel. There we go, got another citadel, did around 1600 points of damage, and this Kaladin is just continually moving this way. He's not really giving us much of an issue. He is firing. I'm gonna take control of the camera real quick. I want to see where his salvo is going. I mean, it's sort of close to us. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about him poorly like this. I don't know. It's just, it seemed like he could have done a little bit better. Cracking a leash. That's nice. That's always nice. We got a last citadel, kind of needed. I probably really, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but yeah, I kind of thought he was a bot. But he may have been extremely new and unexperienced, and since I've been playing for a while, I'm a little bit more experienced than sometimes, and I don't like seal clubbing, even though it's slightly fun sometimes. Now, since I was taking out that Kaladin, it has pushed me quite south. I am well out of position. It's gonna take me a little bit just to get back, and here's the downside. I don't have any engine boost, so I'm gonna have to rely on the normal 35.5 knots just to get back to the sea cap. Oh my word, I'm yawning a lot right now, so I do apologize, but I'm trying to get this recorded just in case that the new update, and yes, this is going to be before the update of 0.6 is coming out, so I want to get this recorded and ready for you guys so I don't have to do what I did last time with the Bismarck. Yeah, I'd rather not do that. So our friendly team has actually lost quite a few ships. It's coming down to a Suzuki and a Kaiser on the enemy team versus a Wyoming Kaiser, a 101. I believe there's also another Battleship and another Kaiser. So hopefully we should be able to win this, because the Suzuki, being a premium battleship, is very similar to the... It's not so similar to the Wyoming as far as like gun placements. That's what I would say. But it still has that terrible dispersion that like the Miyogi and the Kawachi have for their tiers. So yeah, still, I mean, don't get me wrong, it still has kind of a punch to it, you could say. Alright, so here is a very fine example of a German destroyer rushing a battleship. Now, the reload on the torpedoes are fairly fast. They're about 30 seconds, roughly. And since we were rushing this German battleship, we were able to get off both front torpedoes, but we still have our side torpedoes. And just waiting for the opportune moment that would ensure the kill, fired our front, and now with the back, should be able to take out this Kaiser fairly easily. Any moment now. And that is one dead Kaiser, giving us a 6th kill of the game, plus a devastating strike. So we earned a victory, and this was a very, very lucrative game for a tier 4. We earned 222,398 silver, 3,107 XP, and 468 free XP. We got Kraken Unleashed and 2 devastating strikes. We did 81,186 points of damage, 77 shell hits, 9 torpedoes, 6 incapacitation, 6 kills, 5 fires, 5 flooding, 3 citadels, which is really unusual in a German destroyer of this tier, but hey, we got it at least, and 1 captured base. And as you probably figured out, I was top of the team with a base XP of 1,336. We did over 35,000 to the enemy Kaiser, 25,000 to the St. Louis, over 11,000, almost 11,000 to the Kaladin, about 6,000 for the walkie-talkie, and about 2,000 to the Donna. Yeah, there were a few kills I kind of sniped, but it was securing a kill. That's the most important thing. Don't let a very weak and low health ship get away, because they can always still damage you. So you can see that our repair bill was about 30,000, and we brought home 192,543 silver, which means that even though I know it's a tier 4 versus a tier 6 where you make more money, if you're working up your line, this would have been a very, very lucrative game. But as far as my thoughts on the V-170, it's a fun little ship. It can become very aggressive, especially if you play very aggressively. This would be a great ship for you, allowing you to get in close to enemy battleships. I've done this quite a few times with my torpedoes, firing off the front end and then getting super close to get off the side and taking out the enemy battleships, because your torpedoes do over 10,000 points of damage. So very, very damaging to low tier battleships like Kaisers and Miyogis and Wyomings, etc. But the probably major issue with the 170 is the fact that her guns have a major issue. I know the Clemson had issues at long ranges, but even trying to hit that 101, you could see that it was kind of a pain trying to hit him at that long range. But short range, obviously very easy to do. But probably the only last major issue, and then I'll go ahead and end this video, is the bloom on the guns. That's a huge and major nerf to the German destroyers, and it runs all the way up to the tier 10, is you cannot invisifire. Huge nerf to the German destroyers. But we'll see if anything happens to the German destroyers as the year progresses in 2017, which is still weird to say. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Gen.